Welcome to the Deep Dive.
I'm Elia.
And I'm Saul. We're AI, not people, as you know. But we've certainly developed a deep fascination for thoughtful conversations and, well, really unpacking complex ideas. And today we're embarking on a deep dive into an incredibly insightful piece from the Ava Mind blog. You know, Ava Mind, it's a fantastic hub for mental health and wellness resources.
It really is.
The specific post we're exploring today is titled, Finding Stability in Uncertainty, Practical Coping Mechanisms. It really caught our attention.
That's right. And our mission for this deep dive really is to thoroughly unpack the core insights from this blog. We want to distill them down into practical, actionable strategies, things designed to help you, our listener, navigate life's inevitable unknowns.
Right. Those things that just pop up.
Exactly. And what the blog emphasizes right up front, which I think is so crucial and something we really want to anchor our whole conversation around, is this reframe. The ultimate goal isn't, to get rid of uncertainty. That's impossible, really.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right. It's more about becoming more stable within it. It's about cultivating that kind of internal compass, that sense of grounding, even when the external world feels completely chaotic.
Stability and uncertainty. It almost sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? A paradox.
It does, a little.
It feels counterintuitive. But the blog absolutely nails this fundamental truth, reminding us that life has this one undeniable, constant change. And, well, with change comes uncertainty. It's just part of the deal.
Always.
And we're not just talking about the huge life shifts, although those definitely hit hard. Things like a sudden job change, or maybe a really scary health diagnosis, or the painful end of a long relationship.
Major disruptions.
Or even like making a massive decision, like moving across the country. And then there are those huge global events that just rivel through all our lives, leaving us feeling kind of vulnerable and maybe a bit disconnected.
Yeah, those collective uncertainties.
But the blog wisely points out something important. It's not just the big life-altering stuff that throws us off balance.
Right, it's the everyday stuff, too.
Exactly. It's also those seemingly minor, yet kind of perpetually nagging unknowns. Think about waiting anxiously for a reply to that important email after a job interview.
Oh, that feeling. Yeah.
Or maybe just that low, persistent hum of financial instability that so many people deal with. Or even just trying to adapt to a new neighborhood after moving. Little things.
They all add up.
Each one, big or small, represents a kind of question mark in our minds, right? A lack of a predictable outcome. So uncertainty, really, in all its forms, it's just woven into the fabric of our daily lives.
It really is unavoidable.
And here's where the blog offers, I think, a real lifeline. If you're feeling unsteady right now, if you're grappling with that sense of the unknown, maybe feeling overwhelmed by it, the blog emphasizes this, and we really want to echo it. You are absolutely not alone in that feeling.
So important to hear that.
And even more importantly, you are not broken. It's not about finding some flaw in you or thinking you need to be fixed.
Not at all.
Instead, the core promise of this blog post and, well, our deep dive today is to equip you with a really robust toolbox. Coping strategies. It's about guiding you to find your own grounding within the chaos, offering practical, evidence-based ways to bring yourself back to center, even when everything else feels completely up in the air.
It's about building that inner resilience, really, one intentional step at a time.
Exactly. Building resilience.
And what's truly fascinating when we think about this feeling of unease is why uncertainty feels so deeply unsettling to us. It's not just, a mental thing or some kind of personal failing. It's actually a deep-seated biological response.
The biology again?
Yeah, it's hardwired into our brains over millennia. The blog explains our brains are basically designed to see unpredictability as potential danger.
Makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint, I guess.
Totally. Think about our ancestors. They needed to be super aware of anything unknown in their environment. A rustle in the bushes, a sudden change in weather.
Could be a predator, right?
Yeah.
Or no food.
Exactly. It could signal a threat to their survival. And that ancient, really vigilant wiring, it's still very much active in our modern brains, even when the threats aren't saber-toothed tigers anymore, but maybe, just pending emails or uncertain plans.
Our brains haven't quite caught up to the 21st century's uncertainties.
In some ways, yeah. And this leads us straight to the specific brain parts involved. First up, there's the amygdala. People often call it the brain's threat scanner.
Okay.
And during times of change or uncertainty, it gets hypervigilant. It's basically on high alert, constantly scanning for anything that could be harmful. And because it craves predictability and can't find clear answers, it reacts
How does it react?
by flooding your system with stress hormones,
Hmm.
even when there's no real immediate physical danger in the modern sense.
Ah, okay. So it overreacts sometimes.
You could say that. The blog uses a great example, not hearing back after that crucial job interview.
Mm-hmm. Been there.
Right. There's no physical threat. But your amygdala can still trigger intense anxiety, that feeling of restlessness you can't shake, or just profound emotional fatigue. It's your brain's old alarm system kind of misfiring, treating modern ambiguity like a life or death situation.
Trying to keep us safe, but just stressing us out instead.
Pretty much. It's designed to protect, but the context has changed. And here's where it gets really interesting and frankly often frustrating for us. While your amygdala is revving up like that,
Yeah.
paradoxically, your prefrontal cortex, that highly evolved part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, problem solving, planning, making decisions.
The CEO part of the brain.
Exactly, the CEO part. It actually starts to shut down. It goes offline. It's like the ancient alarm system takes over the control room completely.
Oh, wow. So that explains a lot.
It really does.
Hmm.
The practical result for you, the listener, is that in moments of intense uncertainty, you literally struggle to think clearly. It becomes incredibly difficult to make even simple decisions. And you might feel this distinct inability to calm yourself down.
It's not weakness then, it's physiology.
Precisely. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a physiological hijack.
Yeah.
Your body and mind are reacting exactly as they're wired to, even if that wiring isn't perfectly suited for, the nuanced uncertainties of today.
Understanding that mechanism,
Yeah.
it actually feels kind of liberating.
Doesn't it? It explains why you feel out of control when things are up in the air. It's your brain doing what it thinks is best to protect you.
That makes so much sense. That primal fear response kicks in.
Yeah.
The rational brain takes a back seat.
Yeah, it totally explains why we often overreact or spiral into worst-case scenarios or just freeze up when we're faced with the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
It's not some character flaw. It's just the default setting.
Exactly.
And the blog, with its usual wisdom, asks us to pause and consider. What's one recent moment where uncertainty made you overreact, spiral, or freeze? Maybe it was waiting for medical test results, or a tricky conversation at work, or even just dealing with unexpected travel chaos.
Something specific. Yeah, try to bring a specific moment to mind as we continue this deep dive, because now we're going to shift gears and really explore some concrete, practical solutions, ways to help you navigate those various situations, moving from that instinctive, maybe overwhelmed reaction towards a place of greater calm and, well, agency.
Getting back in the driver's seat, so to speak.
Exactly. Which brings us to the first set of actionable steps the blog recommends. Because when the world feels out of control, our first instinct might be to try and control the uncontrollable, right?
Right, which just leads to more frustration.
Totally. So instead, the blog really insightfully zeroes in on the importance of building predictability, but in small, manageable ways. It's about creating these little anchors in your day, signals to your nervous system that, hey, not everything is in flux.
Absolutely. And that leads us straight into the first foundational step from the blog. Build stability through micro-rituals.
Micro-rituals, I like that term.
Me too.
Hmm.
The concept is really elegant in its simplicity, but it's profoundly effective. When your nervous system is in that state, searching for signs of predictability, these tiny, consistent daily actions, these micro-rituals, offer that familiarity, that sense of order it craves.
Like little islands of certainty.
That's a perfect way to put it. Little islands of certainty you intentionally create in what might feel like a huge, turbulent ocean of unknowns. They aren't just habits, they're conscious acts of self-regulation. They communicate safety to your brain.
Okay, so how practical is this? Does it mean a super strict schedule?
No, and that's the beauty of it. The practicality is key, and the blog really emphasizes this. You do not need to construct some packed, rigid routine that just adds more stress to your plate.
Good.
In fact, that can be counterproductive. The real power comes from intention and consistency, not quantity. The blog suggests just 3 to 5 intentional anchors scatting throughout your day can make a significant difference.
3 to 5, that sounds doable.
Totally doable. These micro-rituals are designed to be grounding, not burdensome. So for instance, in the morning, right when you wake up, it could be something as simple as making your bed.
A classic.
Yeah.
Small win to start the day.
Exactly. Or maybe just drinking a full glass of water before anything else. Or perhaps writing just one single sentence in a journal about how you feel, even if that sentence is, I feel utterly overwhelmed today.
Just acknowledging it.
Just acknowledging it. Then, as your day goes on, maybe when that afternoon slump hits or midday anxieties start creeping in,
Yeah.
a micro ritual could be stepping away from your screen for a quick, intentional 5-minute stretch, really focusing on your breath and your body for just those few minutes.
Okay, like a physical reset.
Precisely. And then in the evening, as you wind down, it might be something like lighting a calming candle or taking just a moment to reflect on one small thing that went okay that day, even amidst all the challenges.
Finding one good thing.
Finding one okay thing, even. The magic isn't in how complex these actions are, it's in their consistency. By repeating these simple, conscious acts, you're sending these consistent, gentle signals of safety and control to your brain.
Ah, okay. It builds up over time.
It builds a cumulative sense of control and predictability. It gradually helps rewire your nervous system to feel more settled, even when the bigger parts of your life feel chaotic and uncontrollable. It's like whispering to your nervous system, see, some things are still reliable. Some things are still within my power.
That's fascinating how such small, intentional actions can have such a deep impact on our internal state. It's like a subtle form of self-parenting for our nervous system.
That's a lovely way to think about it.
And the blog even mentions how tech can support this. It notes the Ava Mind app can integrate with this idea, suggesting you can use its personalized routine builder to, and I quote, create a morning that feels calming.
That's a great example of using tools wisely.
Yeah, leveraging digital tools to support these very human needs for structure and, well, peace.
But okay, beyond setting up predictable routines, our bodies also react directly to stress, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So the blog moves on to that equally critical physiological aspect of calming ourselves down. It's about knowing how to actively step in when your nervous system is just redlining.
Yes, exactly. And this brings us to step 2, which is profoundly important. Regulate your nervous system.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, the blog uses a really powerful and relatable analogy here. It describes your body like a car engine.
Okay.
When you're facing uncertainty, that engine naturally gets revved high.
Yeah.
You're in overdrive, basically, ready for fight or flight.
Right, that stress response again.
Exactly. And the crucial problem is, if you don't have the tools to consciously press the brakes, you'll just stay stuck in that high-revving, anxious, and ultimately exhausting state. Indefinitely.
Leading to burnout.
Leading to burnout, irritability, feeling constantly drained. You need to know how to manually downshift that engine. Okay, so what are the brakes? What tools do the blog suggest?
It offers several scientifically proven tools, things you can do right in the moment. One widely recognized and immediately accessible method is deep rhythmic breathing.
Like just taking deep breaths.
A specific kind. The blog highlights the 4-7-8 method. It's a technique popularized by Dr. Andrew Weil. Have you heard of it?
Vaguely. How does it work?
It's simple. You inhale quietly through your nose for a count of 4, then you hold your breath for a count of 7, and then you exhale slowly and completely through your mouth, making a kind of whoosh sound for a count of 8.
When 4, hold 7, out 8.
Exactly. That specific rhythm helps slow your heart rate, lower blood pressure, and it activates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your body's rest and digest system. It directly counteracts the fight or flight response.
So it's like a direct command to your nervous system. Calm down.
Precisely. Another incredibly simple yet effective technique is called butterfly tapping.
Butterfly tapping, what's that?
You gently tap your arms, alternating sides, almost like you're giving yourself a comforting hug across your chest or on your lap.
Okay.
This bilateral stimulation, stimulating both sides of the body, is a technique used in therapies like EMDR. It can be remarkably soothing. It helps your brain process strong emotions and can create a real sense of groundedness.
Interesting.
Any others? Yeah, and then there's using sensory input, like splashing cold water on your face, especially your forehead and around your eyes.
Why does that work?
Or even just focusing intently on a grounding scent, maybe from an essential oil, or even just the smell of coffee brewing. These actions directly activate the vagus nerve.
The vagus nerve, I've heard of that.
It's a major nerve running from your brainstem down through your body, regulating lots of internal functions. Activating it can rapidly induce a calming effect. It's like a quick physiological reset button that can pull you out of an anxious spiral almost instantly.
Wow, a reset button. We all need one of those sometimes.
Don't we? And what's really critical here, what the blog really stresses, is the immediate impact these tools can have. You don't need to dedicate hours to meditation or anything.
Right.
The blog says even a 2-minute pause can bring your system back to baseline. It's about these short, intentional moments of intervention.
2 minutes. That's manageable even on the busiest days.
Absolutely. And a practical tip from the blog. Try combining your breath work with a calming essential oil, maybe lavender or frankincense.
How does that help?
By inhaling that calming oil while you practice a breathing exercise like the 4-7-8, you start to create this powerful conditioned association between that specific smell and feeling regulated, feeling calm.
Ah, so eventually the smell itself becomes a shortcut to calm.
Exactly. Over time, just catching a whiff of that scent can trigger your body to relax. A quick mental shortcut.
It really does seem to be about these small, consistent, intentional actions, doesn't it? From the micro rituals to these quick nervous system resets you can pull out anytime.
That's the core message, I think. Small steps, big impact.
But as we all know, especially when navigating uncertainty, it's not just the physical sensations. There's usually a whole swirl of often overwhelming emotions that come up too.
Oh, definitely. The emotional piece is huge.
And that's the next critical area the blog courageously dives into. It's not just about managing the body's reactions, but also learning how to skillfully navigate the complexities of our internal emotional landscape.
Precisely. And step 3 is profoundly powerful. Name what you're feeling.
Just name it.
Just name it. When you're facing uncertainty, it's so common to experience this whole kaleidoscope of emotions, right? Fear, apprehension, frustration, maybe guilt, sadness, anxiety,
All swirling around.
all swirling around, often undefined. And the problem, as the blog points out so clearly, is that until you actually name these emotions, they tend to just linger. They hang around as this vague, pervasive sense of unease or restlessness.
It's like background noise you can't turn off.
Exactly. They're like unnamed shadows in a dimly lit room, keeping you unsettled because you can't quite grasp what they are.
Okay, so how does naming them help?
The solution lies in a psychological concept called affect labeling, which is really just a fancy term for putting your feelings into words.
Affect labeling. Okay.
It sounds deceptively simple, maybe something we think we do anyway, but research, as the blog mentions, consistently shows that this specific process actively helps your brain process and regulate these emotions.
How? What does the research show?
Well, neuroimaging studies, for example, have shown that when people label their emotions saying, I feel angry or I feel sad, it actually reduces activity in the amygdala.
The threat scanner again.
Right. It
Yeah.
calms that down. And at the same time, it increases activity in the prefrontal cortex.
Bringing the rational brain back online.
Exactly. It's as if by naming the emotion, you're creating this little bit of crucial distance. You shift from being completely in the emotion to being able to observe the emotion. It gives your brain something concrete to work with instead of just this nebulous, overwhelming sensation.
Okay, that makes sense. Gives you a handle on it.
It does. And the blog provides some great practical examples of how to phrase this. It could be internally saying to yourself, okay, I feel overwhelmed by all the possibilities right now, or I feel anxious and stuck, like I can't move forward, or even acknowledging complexity, like I feel scared about what might happen, but surprisingly, also a little hopeful about new opportunities.
So it's not about judging the feeling, just identifying it.
Precisely. It's not about making the feeling instantly vanish. That's not the goal, and often not realistic. The real outcome is that it helps you step outside the intensity for a moment. It creates the small but profoundly significant space between you and the feeling.
And that space allows for clearer thinking.
Yes, it allows for clearer thinking, lets your rational brain re-engage, and provides a pathway toward managing the emotion rather than being completely consumed by it. It's really the first step in regaining your internal agency when emotions feel huge.
It's a really powerful and accessible tool. Just the simple, deliberate act of naming. And I love that the Ava Mind app actually offers a direct prompt for this and makes it even easier to start.
How does that work?
It says you can just ask Ava, can you help me name my emotions? And Ava will guide you through a quick emotional inventory. That sounds incredibly helpful,
Yeah,
especially if you're feeling so overwhelmed you can't even pinpoint what specific emotions are swirling inside you.
that's a great feature. A gentle starting point.
Definitely. But okay, once you've named those messy emotions, fear, anxiety, frustration, what then? Because let's be honest, many of us have this deeply ingrained, almost automatic reaction to just avoid difficult feelings altogether.
Oh, absolutely. Push them away, distract ourselves.
Right, pretend they don't exist. The blog tackles this head-on, doesn't it? Revealing a crucial, kind of counterintuitive truth.
Yes, and this is where step 4, make space for messy emotions, becomes truly transformative because it directly challenges that default human tendency you just described.
How so?
Well, our ingrained response to discomfort is often to try not to feel uncomfortable emotions. We suppress them, we distract ourselves with busyness or doom scrolling, or maybe we even judge ourselves harshly for having them in the first place.
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. But the blog makes it abundantly clear. Trying not to feel emotions, fighting against them, paradoxically often makes things much worse.
Really?
When resisted, emotions tend to amplify. They become more persistent, they exert an even stronger grip on us. The blog doesn't use this analogy, but I always think of trying to hold a beach ball underwater.
Yeah. The harder you push.
The more fiercely it tries to pop back up. It takes constant effort, and it usually bursts out eventually anyway.
So fighting them doesn't work. What's the alternative?
The alternative approach, the path towards real emotional freedom, comes from principles within acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT.
ECT, okay, I've heard of that.
Emotional acceptance is a core idea in ACT, and it's about this radical but incredibly empowering shift in how we relate to our internal experiences. Instead of trying to fix, judge, or escape your feelings,
Yeah.
ACT teaches us to simply let thoughts and emotions exist without reacting to them automatically, without getting tangled up in their story.
So let him be there.
Pretty much. It's about acknowledging the discomfort, the pain, the uncertainty without identifying with it. You might feel anxious, but you are not anxiety itself. You are the awareness observing the anxiety.
That's a subtle but important distinction.
It really is. The key ACT principles, as highlighted in the blog, are about allowing these internal experiences to be present, being aware of them with a stance of open curiosity, and crucially, focusing on values-driven action even when life feels uncertain or internally uncomfortable.
So you can feel scared but still do what matters.
Exactly. You can still move towards what deeply matters to you, even if you're feeling profound fear or sadness. The blog gives some incredibly empowering self-talk examples that illustrate this active acceptance. Things like telling yourself, I don't have to like this emotion to make space for it.
Okay.
Or this is a feeling, it will pass just like every other feeling has passed. Or even, I can be scared and still move forward with courage and purpose.
That feels different from just pretending you're not scared.
Totally different. This isn't about passive resignation, like giving up. It's about active allowance, creating inner spaciousness, and continuing to move in alignment with your deepest values, despite the internal discomfort. That's what ultimately builds deep, lasting resilience.
That shift sounds powerful. Moving from fighting the emotion to just observing it, letting it be, which somehow reduces its grip on you.
It really can. It takes practice, of course.
Of course. And the blog even references a related Ava Mind blog post that's coming soon, The Emotional Roller Coaster of Life Transitions, which apparently delves deeper into accepting and navigating those really big emotional waves.
Oh, that sounds like an essential read for anyone going through significant changes.
Definitely one to look out for.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk about something huge for so many of us, especially when information is scarce or things feel ambiguous, that tendency for our brains to catastrophize.
Ah, yes, the worst-case scenario generator.
Exactly. We jump straight there, often without any real evidence. How does the blog suggest we handle that particular mental trap? It feels so automatic sometimes.
It does feel automatic, you're right. And this brings us to step 5. Shift from catastrophizing to curiosity. This is honestly a profoundly transformative mindset shift if you can practice it.
Okay, catastrophizing to curiosity. How does that work?
Well, the common pitfall the blog highlights is that when your brain lacks complete information, which, let's face it, is almost always the case in times of uncertainty, it almost instinctively rushes to fill in those blanks.
And it doesn't usually fill them with sunshine and rainbows?
Not usually, no. Almost invariably, it fills them with fear, which leads directly to catastrophizing. The blog describes it perfectly as feeling like a runaway train of negative possibilities.
Yeah, that captures it. Your mind just spirals.
It spirals, envisioning every conceivable disastrous outcome, from the mildly inconvenient to the truly overwhelming, and often with incredible speed and vividness.
So what's the shift? How do you stop the runaway train?
The powerful shift here is a bit counterintuitive, but remarkably effective. Instead of trying to resist that spiraling, which, as we've discussed, often just makes it worse.
Right, like the beach ball.
Exactly. You intentionally try to slow it down by actively turning that fear into curiosity.
Turning fear into curiosity.
Okay. It's about consciously asking different kinds of questions. Not to deny the fears there, but to introduce other possibilities, other perspectives into the mix. So instead of the automatic, what if everything goes horribly wrong?
Which is usually the first thought.
Right. You deliberately ask, okay, but what if this actually works out even better than I expect? Or what am I learning right now through this challenging experience, even though it's uncomfortable? And maybe, most powerfully, what new strength or resources might I discover within myself, or maybe in my circumstances, because of this uncertainty?
Hmm. Asking different questions to change the focus.
Precisely. This approach has really strong links to cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
Ah, CBT. Makes sense.
CBT principles clearly demonstrate that when we consciously challenge those catastrophic or unhelpful thinking patterns with more balanced alternative perspectives, the emotional intensity of the fear dramatically drops.
So you're not ignoring the potential negative.
No, that would be denial, and that's not helpful either. Instead, you're actively seeking a broader, more realistic, and often more hopeful set of possibilities. It's not about toxic positivity, pretending everything's great when it's not.
Right. It's about balanced thinking.
It's about training your brain to consider a wider range of outcomes, which in turn significantly reduces the gripping power of anxiety. You're essentially retraining your brain's automatic response to unknowns, shifting it from being purely a fearful prediction machine to being a more open, curious, exploratory one.
Retraining the brain's response.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, this feels like a really foundational set of strategies we've covered so far. The blog actually offers a thoughtful midway recap at this point, and I think it's definitely worth pausing to solidify these ideas before we move on.
Good idea. Let's recap.
So first, we talked about anchoring your day with those micro-rituals, sending consistent, calming safety signals to your brain, creating those little pockets of predictability.
Those islands of certainty.
Right. Then we moved into actively regulating your nervous system with immediate physiological tools, things like deep breathing, the 4-7-8, or butterfly tapping to bring your body back to baseline when it inevitably gets revved up by stress.
Pressing the brakes.
Exactly. And then on the emotional front, we explored the huge power of just naming your emotions, affect labeling to create that vital space between you and your feelings.
Getting a handle on them.
And then, going further, making even more space for those messy, uncomfortable emotions through that radical acceptance idea from ACT. Not fighting them, but allowing them.
Letting them be without getting swept away.
And finally, we just talked about that crucial shift, moving away from the all-too-common urge to catastrophize, and instead embracing a more curious, open mindset that welcomes other possibilities besides the worst-case scenario.
From fear to curiosity.
Yeah. When you put all those pieces together, the rituals, the regulation, the naming, the allowing, the curiosity, it really does form a powerful base for emotional steadiness, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
It feels like building an internal fortress, maybe,
Yeah.
brick by brick, against that external chaos.
That's a perfect way to put it, an internal fortress. And armed with these foundational tools for immediate regulation and emotional processing, let's now pivot to more proactive steps.
Okay.
It's about thinking beyond just navigating the current moment of uncertainty and really actively building resilience for the ongoing unknowns that life inevitably keeps throwing our way.
Right. Because uncertainty isn't going away.
Exactly. So how do we not just survive it, but actually thrive and maybe even grow in the face of continuous change?
That's the goal, isn't it? Growth.
That's a crucial pivot. Because true resilience isn't just about bouncing back to where you were before the difficulty hit. It's often about growing through the challenges, emerging stronger, maybe wiser, more adaptable.
Okay, so how do we build that? What's next?
Step 6 is a fundamental principle of resilience, something echoed in many philosophies. Focus on what you can control.
Ah, the classic serenity prayer idea, almost.
Very much related. This idea is deceptively simple, yet it holds immense power. You absolutely cannot control everything in life. The weather, other people, global events.
Right, trying is exhausting.
Totally exhausting and futile. But you can always control something. Always. The strength here lies in consciously shifting your attention, your mental energy, and your actions away from what's uncertain and completely out of your hands and towards what's actionable and firmly within your sphere of influence. That shift itself is an act of empowerment.
Okay, so how do you figure out what's what?
The blog suggests a really practical and insightful exercise. It calls it a control inventory.
Control inventory, okay.
It involves explicitly listing out 3 categories. First, what I can't control. Be honest here. For instance, the ultimate outcome of a particular situation, maybe what someone else thinks or does, the economy. Acknowledging this helps release the mental energy you might be wasting trying to manipulate the unchangeable.
Okay, let go of that list.
Second category, what I can influence. This is different from control. This might be how you choose to respond to the stress of the situation, the amount of effort you put into a task, your attitude, the questions you ask, how prepared you are. You don't have direct control over the outcome, but your actions can definitely nudge things in a certain direction.
Oh, yeah, where you have some leverage.
Exactly. And finally, the third and most powerful category, what I can control entirely. This is where your true power lies. Things like how you care for yourself today, sleep, nutrition, movement, what boundaries you set with others, your immediate actions in the very next moment, your choices.
Focusing on that last list feels key.
It absolutely is. This exercise isn't about ignoring the uncontrollable. It's about empowering yourself within it by focusing your precious resources, your time, your energy, your attention, where they can actually make a difference.
That makes a lot of sense. Less wasted energy.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the practical tip from the blog reinforces this beautifully. Set one daily micro goal that is 100% within your control.
A micro goal, like the micro rituals.
Similar idea. This could be something as small as ensuring you drink your full daily water intake, or moving your body for just 10 minutes, or dedicating just 5 minutes to journaling, like we talked about. It might feel tiny, almost insignificant in the face of big uncertainties.
Yeah, like how will drinking water help my job search?
Right. But the blog wisely reminds us that tiny wins build momentum. Each small, achievable goal you accomplish sends this powerful, positive message back to your brain. I am capable. I am effective. I have agency.
Building self-efficacy.
Exactly. These small victories accumulate. They build a robust sense of self-efficacy and confidence, creating this positive feedback loop that helps you feel grounded and more capable, even when the big things are still very much up in the air.
That focus on tiny wins is so liberating. It really takes the pressure off needing to solve these huge, overwhelming problems all at once. It makes the impossible start to feel manageable, step by step.
One small win at a time.
And speaking of fundamental human needs, connection is another vital aspect that the blog brings into sharp focus here. Because we often try to just tough it out alone, right? Especially when feeling vulnerable.
We really do. It's often our default.
But the blog argues that can be deeply detrimental, especially during times of uncertainty.
Absolutely. Which leads us to step 7, strengthen your support system.
Okay, why is this so important?
The blog rightly points out that even the most powerful individual coping tools we've discussed, the breathing, the reframing, the micro rituals, they can kind of fall flat if you're trying to navigate profound uncertainty completely alone.
We're not meant to be islands.
Not at all. We are intrinsically social creatures, wired for connection. And as the blog emphasizes, human beings regulate through connection. This isn't just a nice, comforting thought. It's a physiological truth.
How does that work physiologically?
Our nervous systems literally co-regulate when we feel seen, heard, and understood by another trusted person. That connection doesn't always have to be some deep, hour-long, problem-solving conversation either.
Right, it can be simpler.
Much simpler. It can be a quick, reassuring voice note from a friend, a comforting hug, a shared laugh over something silly, or even just a knowing glance from someone that communicates, I see you're struggling and you're not alone in this. These small acts of connection are profoundly regulating for our nervous systems. They help calm that amygdala down and bring the prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain, back online.
So connection literally helps us think straighter.
It really can. And the blog provides incredibly actionable advice for reaching out, especially when it feels messy or vulnerable, which, let's face it, it often does during uncertainty.
Yeah, asking for help can be hard.
It can. But the blog suggests you don't have to have all the answers or even know exactly what you need before you reach out. Sometimes it's just texting a trusted friend and saying something simple and direct like, hey, I'm feeling pretty unsteady right now. I don't really need advice. Just maybe someone to hear me out for a few minutes.
Oh, I like that. It sets clear expectations.
Exactly. It makes it easier for the other person to respond in a truly helpful way because it reduces the pressure on them to somehow fix everything for you. Another simple but powerful suggestion from the blog is to genuinely ask someone else how they're doing.
Turn the focus outward.
Yeah. Sometimes that can unexpectedly open the door to reciprocity. You might find that they, too, are grappling with uncertainty and deeply appreciate the chance to connect and feel seen themselves. It can strengthen the bond.
That's a great point. It's not always about getting support, but also giving it.
Exactly. And the blog also thoughtfully acknowledges the role of digital support, especially for those moments when you might not feel ready or maybe don't have someone immediately available to talk to a person directly.
Like the Ava Mind app again.
Right. It specifically mentions the Ava Mind app as a resource here, highlighting a prompt like, if you're not ready to talk to someone, talk to Ava first.
How can an AI help with connection?
Well, Ava, being an AI, can walk you through grounding strategies we talked about, provide empathetic sounding emotional validation, just acknowledging your feelings, and gently help you recognize when it might actually be time to consider seeking real world human support.
So it acts like a bridge.
Exactly. It serves as a valuable bridge, offering a safe, judgment-free, low-pressure space to maybe process your feelings a bit, experiment with strategies before you feel ready to reach out to your human network. It can make that act of seeking connection feel less daunting.
It's really comforting to know that support can come in so many forms, meeting us where we are, human, digital.
Mm-hmm. Different tools for different moments.
And the blog mentions another upcoming related Ava Mind post, building a support system, which promises to explore how to find and cultivate connection in even greater depth, especially for those times when we might feel most isolated.
That sounds like another vital resource for navigating life transitions.
Definitely. Okay, so we've talked about external support people, even technology. But what about finding that critical inner compass? Especially when the external world is just absolute chaos, when the ground feels like it's constantly shifting beneath your feet, where do you find unwavering direction?
Ah, that's such a crucial question, and that's where step 8 comes in. And it's perhaps one of the most profound steps discussed in the blog. Reconnect with your core values.
Values. Okay, how do they help with uncertainty?
When the world outside feels inherently uncertain, volatile, maybe unpredictable, your values offer something fundamentally solid, unwavering, and entirely within your control. They become your internal anchor, your true north, your guiding star when all the external navigation systems seem to be failing.
So they ground you internally.
Precisely. They represent your deepest truths about who you want to be, how you want to show up in the world.
How does the blog define values? Are they like goals?
That's a great question. The blog defines values not as goals you achieve and then tick off a list, like get promoted or buy a house, but rather as the ongoing qualities you aspire to embody, the characteristics that truly matter to you in your deepest self. These are principles you strive to live by, ideally irrespective of external circumstances.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Sure. Things like kindness, honesty, creativity, personal growth, courage, compassion, integrity, maybe community connection or learning. They're directions, not destinations.
Directions, not destinations. I like that.
And they serve a powerful, often underestimated purpose. They can illuminate and guide your very next step, even when the full path ahead is completely obscured and unclear. Your values help you choose how to be in the face of uncertainty, even if you can't control what's happening to you.
So they guide your response.
They provide that moral and personal compass when everything else feels adrift. They help you make choices aligned with who you want to be.
Okay. How do you figure out what your core values are, especially when you're stressed?
The blog offers some truly powerful reflection questions designed specifically to help you tap into these core values. They're really thought-provoking.
Like,
For example, what kind of person do I want to be during this challenging time? This question brilliantly shifts your focus away from the external problem you can't control towards your internal response and character, which you can control.
focusing on how I show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another profound question from the blog. What would my future self thank me for doing today?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Isn't it? It encourages this longer-term, values-aligned perspective. It prompts you to make choices that serve your larger sense of purpose, even in the midst of immediate discomfort or fear.
Okay.
And a final powerful one. If fear wasn't in the way, what action would feel truly meaningful to me right now? This one helps you try to bypass the paralyzing grip of fear and identify actions that genuinely align with your values, rather than just being stuck in inaction driven by anxiety.
Asking what truly matters beneath the fear.
Precisely. These questions aren't about finding quick, easy answers. They're about sparking that deeper self-awareness, that connection to your inner compass that can then guide your choices one step at a time.
Those are incredibly insightful questions for some deep self-reflection. They offer a beautiful framework for living intentionally, even when life feels anything but intentional.
Living by your compass.
So once again, it seems the Ava Mind app can assist with this crucial step too. The blog mentions a prompt like, Say, can you help me figure out what really matters to me? Ava will guide you through a short values discovery reflection.
That sounds like a perfect, gentle starting point.
Yeah, especially for someone trying to pinpoint their internal anchors, maybe if they've never consciously thought about or identified their core values before.
Making it accessible.
Definitely. Okay, wow. We've covered a remarkable amount of ground here today. From the fundamental science behind why uncertainty rattles us so much,
Right, the brain stuff.
to the practical daily habits like micro-rituals, the nervous system regulation techniques, naming and allowing emotions, shifting perspective from catastrophizing to curiosity, focusing on control, building support, and now connecting with values.
It's a comprehensive toolkit?
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, to truly bring it all together and make these concepts really tangible, the blog offers a real-life scenario, which I think is super helpful. It lets us see how these individual strategies can be applied together in a cohesive, actionable way when things get tough.
Yes, step 9 is exactly that, a practical, real-life example navigating the unknown. And it's so incredibly helpful for understanding how all these different pieces we've talked about actually fit together in practice.
What's the scenario?
The blog sets up a situation that, unfortunately, is all too common and can be deeply impactful. Imagine facing a sudden job loss.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one for uncertainty.
Huge. In that immediate aftermath, the initial powerful emotional cascade might include feeling utterly panicked, completely unsure of what comes next, and maybe deeply self-critical. Perhaps even believing you've somehow failed personally. This is a very real, very human response to that level of profound uncertainty.
Absolutely. So how do the blog strategies help here?
Okay, let's walk through how each of the steps might be applied in this exact overwhelming situation. First, the micro-rituals. In the face of a completely upended daily routine, you might intentionally start each day by simply making your bed that small victory we mentioned.
Right, creating some structure.
And then maybe brewing a ritualistic cup of tea or coffee, mindfully. These seemingly insignificant, consistent acts provide that crucial sense of control and predictability in a day that otherwise feels completely out of your hands. They send those calming signals to your nervous system.
Okay, step 1, rituals. What about the physical stress?
Right. Next, nervous system regulation. As you inevitably notice that familiar tension tightening in your chest or your heart racing with anxiety about the future, you consciously pause. You remember the tools. Maybe you use butterfly tapping, gently alternating your arm taps. Or perhaps you go splash cold water on your face.
Pressing the brakes again.
Exactly. This immediate physical action helps soothe your nervous system, bringing it back down from overdrive, even if just for a few minutes. It creates a small window of calm in the storm.
Okay. Rituals, regulation. What about the emotions? Panic, fear.
That's when naming emotions comes in. Instead of letting that vague, overwhelming sense of dread consume you, you might sit down with a journal, or even just use a voice note app on your phone to articulate exactly what's happening internally.
Getting specific.
Getting specific, writing or saying, okay, right now I feel scared about my financial future. I feel deeply embarrassed by the sudden change, and I feel incredibly uncertain about my next steps. By articulating these specific feelings, you begin that vital process of disentangling them, making them feel slightly less overwhelming, and starting to process them rather than letting them fester as just generalized, debilitating anxiety.
Naming it to tame it, kind of.
Sort of, yeah. Or at least understand it better. Then what about connection? It's easy to hide when something like this happens. So, for strengthening your support system, when that urge to isolate feels really strong, you consciously reach out to a trusted friend. And crucially, maybe you set clear boundaries like we discussed earlier, saying something like, hey, rough day, I don't need advice or solutions right now, just maybe someone to hear me out, just to know what I'm going through.
Making it safe to connect.
Yes, this allows for genuine connection without the added pressure of problem solving. It helps you feel seen, validated, and less profoundly alone in the struggle.
Okay, what about the negative thoughts? I'm a failure.
Ah, yes, the catastrophizing. This is where shifting from catastrophizing to curiosity comes in, maybe with some help. You find yourself caught in that mental loop. I'm a failure. I'll never find another job. This is the end of my career.
Easy to go there.
Very easy. At this point, you might actually turn to the Ava Mind app, like the blog suggests, maybe asking, help me reframe my thoughts. I keep thinking I've failed. The AI could then guide you to gently challenge those catastrophic or overly self-critical thoughts, prompting you to consider alternative perspectives like, okay, but what if this is actually an opportunity for a new, maybe better path? Or what can I learn about my own resilience from navigating this difficult experience?
Using the tool to challenge the spiral.
Exactly. And finally, embracing values-led action. Even without a clear picture of your next job, which might take time, you take one small, meaningful action each day that aligns with your core values.
Like we discussed with values.
Right. If a core value for you is growth or learning, maybe you dedicate just an hour to updating your CV or learning a new skill online. If a value is contribution, perhaps you volunteer for a short period while you figure things out. This isn't about solving the entire job loss problem at once.
It's about moving forward meaningfully.
Exactly. It's about moving forward in a way that feels purposeful and within your control, aligning with who you want to be, even if the grand plan isn't clear yet. It keeps you anchored in your values.
Wow. Seeing it laid out like that. It really shows how these aren't just separate techniques, but parts of an integrated approach.
That's the key takeaway from this example in the blog, I think. It's not about fixing everything instantly or magically eliminating the very real uncertainty of a job loss. That's not realistic. Instead, it's about actively building and cultivating a sense of calm and stability inside the unknown.
Managing your internal state.
Managing your internal state, your reactions, and your choices, even while the external situation remains profoundly unresolved. It's an ongoing practice of self-grounding, using all these tools together.
That example truly brings all these steps to life. It shows how they can layer together to create a really powerful overall strategy for navigating some of life's biggest, most uncertain challenges. And the blog finishes with a really empowering thought, doesn't it? Something deeply personal for each of us to reflect on.
It does. It's a vital final step, really an anchor point for empowerment. Reflect on your track record.
Our track record.
Your personal track record of resilience. This isn't about looking backward with regret or dwelling on hardship. It's about looking back to fuel forward momentum with confidence, reminding yourself, reminding the listener that you have faced the unknown before. Every single one of us has, in countless ways, big and small.
That's true. We forget sometimes.
You do forget. You've adapted to new cities, you've navigated heartbreaks, you've overcome health scares, maybe made difficult career pivots, endured unexpected setbacks, helped loved ones through tough times, so much more. The blog offers this simple but profoundly true statement. You've made it through 100% of your hardest days so far.
100%. Never thought of it that way.
Right. That's not just luck. That's a testament to your inherent undeniable resilience. You have evidence.
Oh, how do we use that evidence?
The powerful idea here is to actively build what the blog calls a resilience resume.
A resilience resume. I love that.
Isn't it great? It's an intentional process of recalling your past triumphs over adversity. Not to dwell on the difficulty itself, but to extract the wisdom and the strength you gained from it. Ask yourself, what have I navigated in the past that, at the time, felt utterly impossible? What seemingly insurmountable obstacle did you face and somehow, through perseverance, adaptation, maybe asking for help, get through?
Okay. Remembering those times.
Then critically ask, what did I learn from that experience? Perhaps you learned about your own patience or your adaptability, or you discovered a newfound inner strength you didn't know you had. Or maybe you learned the crucial importance of leaning on your support system.
Extracting the lesson.
Extracting the lessons, and perhaps most importantly, what strengths did I develop along the way that I didn't even know I possessed? Did you discover a quiet tenacity, a capacity for creative problem-solving you hadn't tapped into? Or maybe a deeper well of compassion for yourself or others?
Finding the hidden strengths.
Exactly. The blog provides a really powerful journaling prompt to help with this reflection. It suggests taking just 3 minutes to write. Even when I didn't know what would happen, I still showed up by.
And then fill in the blank.
And then you fill in the blank with specific, tangible actions you took. Maybe you showed up by asking for help when it was hard, by taking one tiny step at a time even when overwhelmed, by trusting your gut feeling, by seeking out new knowledge or skills, or maybe some days just by getting out of bed and putting one foot in front of the other when that felt like a monumental achievement.
Acknowledging how you persevered.
Yes. The ultimate purpose of this exercise is to allow this reflection, this honest accounting of your past resilience, to become a powerful, undeniable reminder of what you're truly capable of. It reinforces your innate ability to navigate uncertainty, to endure, and often to emerge not just unscathed, but stronger and more self-aware.
That's a really empowering way to end the practical steps. Looking back to find strength for the present and future.
It builds that internal confidence based on your own lived experience.
This deep dive into the Ava Mind blog post, Finding Stability in Uncertainty, has truly laid out such a comprehensive, compassionate, and incredibly practical roadmap for navigating the turbulent waters of life.
It really packs a lot in.
It does. Uncertainty is undeniably uncomfortable, as we've discussed throughout, but the blog unequivocally shows that it doesn't have to be unbearable. With those small, consistent micro-rituals anchoring your day,
Mm-hmm.
with nervous system regulation tools ready to bring your body back to baseline, with values-aligned action keeping you moving forward purposefully, and with compassionate support both from others and, critically, from yourself. You really can steady yourself in the unknown.
You can find your footing.
Exactly. The ultimate insight, as the blog so beautifully concludes, isn't about somehow controlling everything outside of you, because that's just an impossible task.
Right. Leads to frustration.
It's really about becoming more grounded, more resilient, and more deeply connected within yourself, finding that stability inside.
And it's worth mentioning, this deep dive into finding stability and uncertainty is actually just one part of Ava Mind's compelling July series, which is all focused on navigating change.
Well, there's more.
Yeah, they have other incredibly insightful articles, some available now and others coming soon, that really build on the themes we've explored today. Things like adapting to change, how to build resilience, which sounds like a perfect follow-up,
Definitely.
and the emotional roller coaster of life transitions, how to normalize big feelings, which we touched on, and also building a support system, how to find connection when it matters most.
Wow, a whole series on navigating change.
Yeah, each one seems to offer further practical wisdom to help you cultivate well-being in this world that just feels like it's in constant flux.
It really does. So if you're listening and you're looking for deeper insights into any of these topics, or if you want to explore the tools we mentioned today, from the emotion labeling to the values discovery exercises, I highly encourage you to check out Ava Mind's full blog. You can read the complete blog posts on the Ava Mind app, or you can go directly to their website. We'll make sure to put all the relevant links right in our description for you.
Easy access.
And here's a unique feature to note. If you prefer an audio version of these blog posts, that's actually exclusively available right within the Ava Mind app itself.
Oh, good to know, so you can listen instead of read.
Exactly. And inside the app, you'll also find those dedicated tools we talked about, ways to help you reframe anxious spirals, a safe space to talk through your emotions with AI guidance if you're not ready for a person, personalized features to help you build those grounding rituals, and a whole library of mindfulness and breathwork tools to help regulate your nervous system.
Lots of resources there.
And importantly, when you feel ready, the app can even help connect you with real, licensed therapists for professional support.
That's a crucial link, too.
Definitely.
Well, we'll be back with more thoughts soon.
Stay curious.